Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of history's most sensational scandals. A story so full of deception, ambition, and extravagance that it feels like it was ripped straight from a Hollywood script. This is the tale of the affair of the diamond necklace. A con so audacious that it helped light the fuse for the French Revolution and forever tarnished the reputation of a queen who was, for once, completely innocent. Let's set the stage. It's the 1780s, and France is a powder keg. The people are starving, the treasury is empty, and resentment against the monarchy is simmering. At the center of all this is Queen Marie Antoinette. Already unpopular for her Austrian roots and her lavish lifestyle, she was an easy target for public anger. The people saw her as Madame Deficit, the woman who partied while Paris starved. It's in this volatile atmosphere that our story begins, not with the queen, but with a cast of characters worthy of a grand theatrical drama. First, we have the mastermind, a woman named Jeanne de Valois-Saint-Remy. Jeanne claimed to be a descendant of the former French royal house of Valois. In reality, her family had fallen on hard times and she grew up in poverty. But Jeanne was incredibly ambitious and cunning. She managed to marry a gendarmerie officer, giving her the title Comtesse de la Motte. Using her supposed royal lineage, she wormed her way into the fringes of court society, always looking for her big break, her way to secure the wealth and status she felt she deserved. Next, we meet our mark, the ridiculously wealthy and powerful Cardinal de Rohan. The cardinal was the Grand Almoner of France, and came from one of the most distinguished families in the country. But he had one major problem. He was in deep disfavor with Queen Marie Antoinette. Years earlier, while serving as the French ambassador to Vienna, he had spread gossip about the queen's mother, the powerful Empress Maria Theresa. Marie Antoinette never forgave him. The cardinal was desperate to regain her favor, believing it was the only way to achieve his ultimate ambition, becoming the Prime Minister of France. This desperation made him the perfect target. And finally, we have the object of everyone's desire, the necklace itself. This wasn't just any piece of jewelry. It was a masterpiece, a cascade of 647 flawless diamonds, weighing a staggering 2,800 carats. It was originally commissioned by King Louis XV for his mistress, Madame du Barry. But the king died before it was finished, leaving the Parisian jewelers, Baumer and Bassange, with an incredibly expensive, unsellable piece of bling. They had tried to sell it to the new king, Louis XVI, as a gift for Marie Antoinette, but she flatly refused it. The price was astronomical 1.6 million livres, which is equivalent to tens of millions of dollars today. The queen, aware of the country's financial crisis, wisely said, "We have more need of ships than of necklaces." So the jewelers were stuck with this diamond albatross. Enter Jeanne de la Motte, our clever con artist. She had managed to become the Cardinal de Rohan's mistress and convinced him that she was a close confidant of the queen. This was a complete lie. In reality, Marie Antoinette couldn't stand her and had never even spoken to her. But Rohan, blinded by his ambition, believed every word. Jeanne began by acting as a go-between, carrying forged letters supposedly from the queen to the cardinal. These letters started out friendly, slowly convincing Rohan that Marie Antoinette was softening towards him. Jeanne even enlisted her lover, Retox de Villette, a skilled forger, to perfectly mimic the queen's handwriting. The cardinal, thrilled by this progress, showered Jeanne with money and gifts to thank her for her help to seal the deal. Jeanne orchestrated the most audacious part of the con, a secret nighttime meeting. In the gardens of the Palace of Versailles, she arranged for the cardinal to meet the queen. For this role, she hired a Parisian prostitute named Nicole Leguet, who bore a slight resemblance to Marie Antoinette. Dressed in a white gown similar to one the queen famously wore in a portrait, Nicole met Rohan in the dark. She handed him a rose and whispered a few words of forgiveness. "You may hope that the past will be forgotten." The meeting lasted only a few minutes before Jeanne rushed in, saying someone was coming. For the cardinal, it was proof. He was back in the queen's good graces. Now, with her hook firmly set, Jeanne played her final card. She told the cardinal that the queen secretly coveted the diamond necklace but couldn't buy it publicly because of the country's financial situation. She wanted to buy it through a secret intermediary. And who better to entrust with this delicate top-secret mission than her newly reconciled friend, the Cardinal de Rohan? The plan was simple. Rohan would use his credit to purchase the necklace from the jewelers. He would then hand it over to Jean, who would deliver it to the Queen. The Queen, in turn, would pay the jewelers back in installments. To prove it, Jean produced a forged document with the Queen's supposed signature authorizing the purchase. The signature read Marie Antoinette de France. This should have been a red flag. French royalty signed with their given names only, not their surname. But Rohan, swept up in the fantasy, didn't notice. He went to the jewelers, showed them the forged contract, and took possession of the necklace. He then met Jean in her apartment and handed over the priceless treasure. As you can imagine, the necklace never reached the Queen. Instead, Jean's husband, the Comte de la Motte, immediately took it to London, where he began breaking it apart and selling the individual diamonds. The scheme began to unravel when the first payment to the jewelers came due. Rohan, expecting the Queen to have paid, was confused. The jewelers, growing nervous, went directly to the Queen's lady-in-waiting. When she brought the matter to Marie Antoinette, the Queen was baffled. She hadn't ordered any necklace. She hadn't written any letters. She hadn't met the cardinal in the garden. On August 15, 1785, the day of the Feast of the Assumption, King Louis XVI summoned the Cardinal de Rohan to his chambers. In front of the king and queen, the whole sordid story came tumbling out. Rohan, realizing he'd been duped, produced the forged contract. The king flew into a rage. "How could you believe," he thundered, "that the Queen would sign Marie Antoinette de France? Everyone knows queens sign only their given name." Rohan was publicly arrested in the Hall of Mirrors, in front of the entire court, and thrown into the Bastille. The affair became a public sensation. A trial was held, and all of France was captivated. Jean de la Motte was arrested and became the star defendant. She masterfully played the victim, painting herself as an innocent woman caught between a corrupt cardinal and a manipulative queen. She published memoirs filled with salacious lies about Marie Antoinette, portraying the Queen as a decadent and politically meddlesome schemer who had framed her to cover up an affair with Rohan. The verdict was a disaster for the monarchy. The Cardinal de Rohan was acquitted. The public saw this as a victory over royal tyranny, believing that even a prince of the church was no match for the Queen's supposed treachery. They celebrated him as a hero. Jean, on the other hand, was found guilty. She was sentenced to be whipped, branded with a V for volus or thief, and given a life sentence in prison. However, she later escaped to London, where she continued to publish her scandalous and damaging lies about the Queen. For Marie Antoinette, the outcome was devastating. Even though she was completely innocent, the public trial had aired all the dirty laundry. The scandal confirmed their worst suspicions about her, that she was wasteful, deceitful, and morally corrupt. The affair destroyed what little credibility the monarchy had left. It became a powerful symbol of the decadence and injustice of the old regime. Historians agree that the affair of the diamond necklace was a crucial event on the road to the French Revolution, which erupted just a few years later. It crystallized public anger against the Queen and, by extension, the entire system she represented. It was a perfect storm of greed, ambition, and public outrage, all centered on a piece of jewelry that the Queen never even wanted. It's a tragic reminder of how lies and public perception, once spun out of control, can have world-changing consequences. Marie Antoinette would eventually face the guillotine. And while she was condemned for many things, the ghost of this diamond necklace affair surely followed her to the very end. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's a truly incredible story, isn't it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history's greatest scandals, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next video. See you next time.